All right, we're recording. Welcome to Book Club, everybody. I'm Lori, and I'm leading today. In case you don't know who I am, I'm leading with the help of probably Melissa. We are on today's the 22nd of March, and we are on chapter 12. Karma's a bitch if you are, which is a great title. I like it already. Okay, so I couldn't write a book about how to build a business that will give you the life of your dreams without including a chapter on playing nicely with others. Because some people don't play nicely, that is. They make this incredibly fun, collaborative nirvana of a profession not as fun, and they all make us look bad. I don't want you to be one of those people. Please know that what we're talking about here isn't intended to chastise or scare anyone. In fact, these kinds of shenanigans, at least in my personal experience, are the exception and not the rule. Because I always like to give others the benefit of the doubt, I first assume these lapses in judgment occur because folks don't know any better. So let's talk about the basics of how we should be treating each other and our businesses to protect everyone, and then we'll all know better. Let's start with the golden rule that's found in nearly every human culture and religion. Treat others as you want others to treat you. This is not a great this is not only a great way to live, it should be the guiding principle for your business. If that's not enough to get you to play nicely, how about the karma principle? What we put out in the world is what we get back. Our business requires us to step into our greatness and to help and inspire others to step into their greatness too. Since this is a business of duplication and everything we do duplicates, wouldn't you want to duplicate kindness, generosity, professionalism, and ethical actions? Isn't that what you want to be surrounded by? I know I do. What if you bump into others? It's going to happen at some point. You talk to someone who's already been talking to another business builder in your company. If you discover that the person you're talking to has heard about your company before, then do the right thing and push her back. Tell them how great this gig is, how wonderful your products or services are, and that they should trip over themselves to get in touch with the other business builder. It doesn't matter if you know or don't know the other business builder, or if you like her or not. Don't analyze, rationalize, or intellectualize. Just push her back because that's exactly what you'd want someone to do for you. Even if the person she's already talked to is in your upline, I implore you not to believe the horseshit rationalization, and it's okay to ignore the prior conversations because you're on her team and this benefits her as well. I'm here to tell you, sister, we do care and we are capable of figuring out if it makes sense to put a prospect of ours as a customer or business partner under you. Plus, that's how you want to be treated by your team, right? If you do push the person back, but she says she doesn't want to purchase from or work with the other person, then what you do next isn't so black or white. If the prospect doesn't have a relationship with the other business builder, but they had, for example, a Facebook message convo a year ago and there was no follow up, you can feel comfortable moving forward with the discussion. If someone you're talking to has an ongoing relationship with another business builder in your company, but the prospect is uncomfortable pursuing a professional relationship with her, then I suggest putting the responsibility on the prospect to have a conversation with the other consultant before moving forward. Require her to tell the other builder that she's decided to pursue a working relationship with someone else and offer authentic reasons. I've heard many team members worry that putting the honest on the prospect is risky because she might not want to have what could be an uncomfortable conversation and may decide not to pursue the business. I believe and experience has proven that if the prospect isn't willing to have a frank professional discussion with the other business builder, she doesn't really have the kahunas to build this sucker or the respect for you to keep you clean and start your relationship off on the right foot. So I just want to stop there. That's really a wordy thing going on there. And as I'm reading it, I'm like, not that I'm not understanding it, but there's a lot of words here just basically to say if you run into someone who wants to work with you, but they've already been sort of working with someone else, what do you do? And what came to mind is back in the beginning of COVID, when we started our virtual parties, I met a lady through um, a party, and had a good personality and she liked me and said to me after the party, I want to date a party with you, but I'm already scheduled with another Tupperware consultant. And I asked her who it was, and it was someone in Champion. And I told her, I said, I don't want to step on any toes. And, she was like a dating through the dice game. And I told her, I said, if that's what you really want to do, I said, then you have to go to the other Tupperware consultant and tell them that. And tell them why you've decided to not do the party with her, and tell her who you are going. I did put it back on her. And I never had a conversation with the other consultants, but she said that she did that. So, I mean, it's happened to me. I don't know if it's happened to anybody else. Has it happened to anybody else that's on?
Yeah.
It hasn't happened to me in Tupperware, but it happened with me personally with another party plan. And the first person was not professional at all.
Oh,
And
no.
it was a very sticky situation, but it all worked out in the end. But and sometimes it's just a matter of personalities not matching up. I mean, I know you guys have seen it on your teams where the person that recruited them, they don't have much of a relationship with, but they pick up on a relationship with us as directors. And that can even be a sort of sticky situation because you're already under that other person, but you want to be helpful, but you don't want to step on toes. So,
Right. Sometimes it can be sticky, but I didn't know if anyone else was having trouble with all these words on a Monday morning. I was just like,
yes, it was definitely wordy.
Yeah. So is it happening to you, Christy?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And, I get a lot of people that reach out to me now, not just in our company, but in the region. And it's tough because, my heart is I want to help everybody. But I also don't want, I've had people say, oh, I want to be on your team, and that's the last thing I want to happen. So a lot of the times I will reach out to the director and let him know that, this person is reaching out to me. How would you like me to proceed? Because I don't want to not help them and them feel like they can't reach out to people if they feel more comfortable with them. But I also don't want to upset anybody. So it's kind of like that fine line that I find myself struggling with sometimes.
You see, I'm struggling with the sun. I look like
I noticed that. I was like,
say, Lord,
all of a sudden there's this like spotlight on you.
It's because she's having them cut stuff off her trees. Now she's not.
Right.
That equates to more sun for the pool, right? Good idea, Melissa. Look at that. I can't. No, it's actually not that. They're not actually doing that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it up on something.
Oh, I was going to say, sit on the other side of the table.
Aren't you glad I decided to lead? I'm a hot mess today. Good Lord. How about that?
So I've had that happen. And kind of what I've done was, you dated a party with that person. So, my thought would be you should do that party and honor it. And then if you want to have another party, then contact me if you like. Or if you really do not want to have a party with that person, then you need to let them know and explain to them that, why, and then come back to me.
That's a good thing to do too. Really. I mean, and here at Champion, we are all about helping each other. Most of us are directors. Well, one just fell off, but most of us are directors on this call. So we help each other, and we don't think anything of it, but everyone's not like us. And it took me a while to realize that everybody isn't like us. Other organizations in the region or around Tupperware, they're not as free giving as we are, you know? So I can see where, even to the point like Christy was talking about, helping each other can be a sticky situation. But, I think it's a different situation when money's involved, like a party or a purchase, that can kind of set people off. Um, why does she want to buy from you when she was supposed to buy for me? That type of thing. So, all right, I just wanted to pause there because I understood what they were saying, but it was difficult.
It was a very long explanation and a very, yeah, very wordy, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I got into the second paragraph and I was like questioning what he was actually or what she was actually talking about. Or is
Yeah.
woman?
Yeah. Right? In those situations, it's like we really need to remember the golden rule. Do unto others as you would like them to do unto you, not do unto others before they do it to you.
Although
some people confuse that,
If I'm faced with that, I'd like to do unto others before they do unto me. Come on.
But no, remember how you would feel if somebody did that to you. That's what you want to remember, because it'll come back to you.
Right.
It will,
It always does. And what I was thinking, karma, they always say karma's a bitch. And it'll come back to you too. So, yes. All right, I'll keep going. I just wanted to stop and pause for a minute. Okay. On occasion, someone you don't know and aren't even Facebook friends with may contact you out of the blue about your company. That's a fabulous, fun surprise. Always ask how they've heard about your company and our products, which helps you to discover if there have been prior conversations and people you need to push her back to. I must warn you, however, that asking the right questions doesn't always lead to the truth. So in those cases, you have to go with your gut to tell you what's right. When you ignore your gut, that's when you get into trouble. Let me tell you about the time when I didn't listen to my gut and made a terrible decision. Learn from my awful lapse in judgment. Years ago, I was contacted by a prospect who was taking a serious look at her company and told me she'd done a lot of research and wanted to explore working with me. When I first talked to her, she told me she'd heard of me through an informational call I recorded about our company after seeing it posted on my wall. When I asked her if she was talking to anyone else working with our company, she said no. Over the next few conversations, it came out that she had been talking to another builder, but reported that she didn't gel with her personality. I followed my own rule and told her to loop back to the other builder to let her know she wouldn't be pursuing a business relationship with her. This prospect came back and reported she did so, and we continued our conversation. Then, and this is where I should have politely and respectfully told her to join someone else's team. Hold on, I lost my, okay. Stop, a spam call came in. Oh my God, people stop. I'm sorry. Okay. And this is where I should have politely and respectfully told her to join someone else's team and wished her well. She told me she had been talking with another biz owner, but she couldn't possibly join her because she had issues with the other biz owner's significant other. I'll admit it, she tugged at my heart with her story of what was going on in her family, how hard she was willing to work, how coachable she'd be, how much she needed this opportunity, that the others weren't a good fit for her at all, and that I was the only one she would grow a business with in our company. But here's the thing. If I had been thinking with my business brain and tuned into the slightly icky gnawing in my gut, instead of thinking that I could be the one to save this woman, what happened next wouldn't have happened. It turned out that the two other builders she had talked to were on my team. Oh no. She hadn't fully made it clear to them why she didn't want to join their teams. And she didn't tell me that she had heard about my call info through one of them. My team member, like many on our team, used the call to help close her prospects and grow her team. But I was the one who enrolled her. Yuck. What ensued was an absolute shitstorm. Their uplines, valued colleagues, and friends were royally pissed at me. My team members lost true trust and respect in me because I enrolled a woman who, it turns out, was talking with 2 other team members before she came to me. Now, you could say that based on the facts I'd been given, I followed the ethical rules of 1, asking the questions, and 2, pushing back, so all was cool. But it wasn't. I'd failed them by not doing enough fact finding about the other people the prospect was talking to in order to find out the truth. It happened because I ignored that slightly icky feeling in my gut. This woman was talking to too many people to truly be available, and my gut picked up on it. Even if you could argue that she was available, she was undeniably flighty or squirrely or not a good prospect. I should have asked myself the question, if she were a he and those other business builders were women he was dating, would you want to date him? Worse yet, if you were family with those other women, would you want to date him? The answer would have been an unequivocal hell to the no. Turns out the woman wasn't consistent or coachable and ended up doing nothing. She wasn't worth the time, energy, personal angst, or the anguish caused to others. Not only did it damage friendships I'd developed over the years, but it also turned out to be a stupid business. Since then, I have an ironclad rule to never bring someone direct to me who has talked to others on our team first, no matter how unsuccessful my pushback. It's not worth it. I've learned that flighty, squirrely people in your funnel grow flighty, squirrely businesses, which is to say they don't grow. Remember, everyone duplicates. We all work so hard to build relationships with our teams based on trust and respect, even with those we don't know personally. And one stupid decision can chip a big old piece of that away. Even if this woman would have gone on to build huge, it wouldn't have been worth it. So that has definitely happened to me. And as I was reading, I was thinking, if someone comes to me personally and is like, I used to be with so-and-so's team and it didn't work out. And I used to be on so-and-so's team and it didn't work out because they didn't help me or I just didn't gel with their personality. You know, I've got this big, long sob story. It's natural for us as wanting to help to say, I'll help you. I'll be the one. And I actually did that. I'll be the one to help you. It was a man that Dwayne and I had met at a show at a mall, and he had been on someone else's team, and it was a director with Champions. So I reached out to her and asked her, and she was like, oh, I tried to help him, blah, blah, blah. He just never lived up to his potential. And she was fine with it. So I signed him, and he did the same exact thing to me. He drained my energy. He complained. He was not a nice guy, and finally just fell off and disappeared, So lesson learned, I didn't do anything behind the other person's back, but my gut was telling me, not a good prospect, because if they're talking to multiple people, that's not a good sign. I feel personally, that is not a good sign. It's just, something's not right there. So, I totally agree with what she's saying there. So I don't know if that's happened to anybody else, but I personally learned that lesson. I didn't damage any relationships, but it was not worth my time or energy to, bring someone else on. So, okay, going on. Local schmokel. It makes my blood boil whenever I hear that a business builder tells someone else's prospect that they'll only be successful if they join a local team. We all know that this "you must join with someone local" line is bullshit but it happens a lot in every company. This happens because the person who originally introduced the prospect to the business lives in another town, another state, or even another country, and a local builder wants to steal that prospect. So here are a few things I have to say about that. If you believe that local is better, then your business should be confined to only your city, town, or surrounding area where you can meet face-to-face with your team members. But then you're not taking full advantage of our social commerce business that annihilates geographic limitations. And you're not a savvy turnkey entrepreneur in the digital age. This strategy is 100% against the supportive, collaborative culture that is one of the best parts of our profession. I've fallen completely in love with the encouragement and abundance pouring out of not just our team, but also from builders across our whole company and even among leaders of other companies. I can't imagine going back to the cutthroat days of law or PR, but this strategy threatens this Eden and it pisses me off. To pull someone away from a long distance sponsor to enroll locally or to create the fear that they won't be accepted or supported is against our company's code of ethics and is likely against your company's also. I guarantee that if you pull that crap, it will bite you in the butt when you're trying to grow from afar. Karma, baby. Now, we know that because of digital and what we've gone through virtually for the last year, that we have, the means to support anyone anywhere. So I would hope everyone in Champion would know that. And Melissa's kitty is here to read too. All right, so follow meeting and event etiquette. We all attend events, whether they're business presentations, product-centric events, or others. At these events, remember you're surrounded by people and you can assume that one or more of those people can hear everything that comes out of your mouth. So here's the golden rule for events. Before something comes out of your mouth, ask yourself if you'd like one of your prospects or team members to hear it. I've personally heard builders at events complaining about guests canceling, customers quitting their auto ship, or other negative statements. Do you think your prospects would be super psyched to join you in business if they heard one of your colleagues say these things? Golden rule, people. Then there's the local schmokel thing rearing its ugly head with events. In your company like ours, builders often send prospects to events in other markets. Those people are supposed to feel welcomed and embraced and made to feel like they'd be part of a local community, even if their upline lives somewhere else. But we hear about poaching at meetings when the upline isn't there. It's just, what's the word? Disgusting. There are enough people in the world who could be your customers and business partners that you don't have to prey on others' hard work, don't you think? Karma, people. Don't make shit up. When you talk about your business and your products or services, be quick about what's real, what it takes to build this, that it's not get rich quick. Don't embellish your stats or your company's stats. Don't doctor before and after pictures, or for the love of God, steal another company's pictures. If you don't have all the facts about a person's success story or a producer's efficacy, share what you do know and only what you know. You'll be much more helpful to your prospects if you tell them you need to find the information that they're looking for than if you make shit up. Don't assume that since a colleague posted something that it's true. I mean, nothing false is ever put out on social media, right? So don't blindly post something just because someone else did. Stop and do a gut check and a common sense check. If something doesn't seem right, investigate or just go with one of the gazillion other fab things you could be posting, sharing, tweeting, or pinning. So when in doubt, check with your company's compliance or marketing department. Don't post an implied celebrity endorsement of your business or products unless that famous person has a contract with your company or is your personal customer or business partner, and you have permission to use them in your marketing, or they're one of your colleagues' customers or biz partners. I giggle at all the clever yet ridiculous images out there that suggest Oprah or Ryan Gosling or Bill Gates is applauding our products in our business or our business. If you do this, you open yourself and your company up to legal action from the celebrity. Aren't you glad I went to law school? Even if you've done some of these things, I must share with you what John and I tell our kids when they do something that's not representative of their best selves. Just because you did that mean, underhanded bullshit thing, and yes, we do cuss in front of our kids, you're not a bad person. You just had bad behavior. But now that you know the difference, you'll make better choices in the future. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn and grow. Every day, there are wonderful opportunities to make good decisions that help people build other people up, and you make you and your business stronger. If you ever have a question, here's what to do. Kids have an unadulterated sense of right and wrong. So find a child between the ages of 5 and 13, whether it's your son, daughter, grandchild, niece, nephew, or neighbor kid, and explain the situation and what you plan on doing. No editorializing, no spin, no excuse making, just the facts. See if it passes their bullshit meter. If you find yourself wanting to editorialize, spin, or make an excuse, you know it's not passing yours. Do what's right or karma will get you. Make good decisions. Now you know better. Well, there you go. I can ask my daughter. And I kind of have at times said, like, oh, this and this. And she's very straight and to the point. And she's just like, well, 3 lines, 3 words, and it's done. Where we overthink. Kids don't overthink.
Does that include the meme I use in my parties sometimes of Channing Tatum saying, "Go ahead, girl, buy that Tupperware"?
No, that is exactly what I was thinking.
Meme.
Or it's Shamar Moore going, you deserve this. Buy that Tupperware. Yes, I think that's in violation.
Oh, shoot. That's the only one I use, but I love that one.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking when I was reading that. All right, I guess we can't do that because if Channing Tatum ever sees us doing that, he could ask for royalties. And so I guess it is.
I never thought about it.
It's
You
against the
always think,
rules.
oh, someone else posted it. It's okay.
Exactly. And I just sent a meme this morning to Lydia, and it was from another organization, a Canadian organization. I'm like, Lydia, and I don't think it falls under this because it's our kit and something else that's coming up next month, which I can't say because I don't know if Ruth and Barbara Ann know. But anyway, I asked her, I'm like, do you think we could take their name out and put it ours like generic? And she's like, sure. But I don't think that's the same thing. It's just changing the price and taking their thing out. But yeah, you got to be careful on social media, especially.
No, it makes sense after you said it, but I didn't think anything of it when I did it.
Yeah, no, that's kind of within our company, and we expect people to use them. I think what they're talking about, like stealing others' memes or pictures or something like that, is like other companies.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? And sometimes I see people in chats. I'm in a couple other director chats where they're like, hey, I saw this from Scentsy.
I know.
Can we make that into Tupperware? So
But we kind of,
I know that's illegal.
You can kind of take their idea and make it your own, or we can make it Tupperwares, but it's not to make sure it's not exactly the same, and you're not using like the same picture or background or something like that.
That's probably a good rule of thumb. Change up the background, change the product, not just take it and mimic it and put Tupperware's name on it.
Yeah, chances are they got it from somebody else as well.
It's okay. We're the 4th company using it, so no problem. No, I get that. But right, you wouldn't. I think they talk too. You guys have seen it all on Facebook or Instagram. Like Ellen DeGeneres loves this weight loss pill. She talks about this. Celebrities are suing companies for using them as endorsements for something they've never done.
And they should.
Right, exactly. And we don't do that. Like using Channing Tatum's image, say, go ahead, girl, buy that Tupperware.
He never said he loved it. He just told you to buy it.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what you would say in court too, Melissa.
Well, and the thing is, you're using his picture or whatever, but you're not you're using it in a private use.
Right.
Most of the time. Yeah. Well, but when you put that out there on your story, if you're putting it on your Facebook or Instagram story, that's not anything private.
I don't do that.
Yeah, I don't do that either, but I've seen other things. And I guess there is that fine line. But when you're a celebrity like that, how can you stop people from using your photo? I
don't think you can because they're out so many different platforms and stuff. They're all over. I mean, they know people are going to use now, but saying that somebody said they love your product and you're promoting it that way, that's totally different. That's totally.
Yeah. And I was also thinking when I was reading, like how we see TV shows or something that we're watching and we're like, oh my God, they're using Tupperware,
Mhm.
you know, taking that image and sharing that image.
Uh-huh.
If that kind of falls in there. I mean, you're not saying, hey, you know, Susan Sarandon loves our water bottles, but she is seen using it in a movie. You can just say, oh, even Susan loves our bottles. I don't know. But it's just, I was kind of thinking that too when you see it out there.
Maybe not use it that way, but obviously it's important enough that the movie used it. It was just the prop put in her hand, but the movie decided to use that, or the TV show decided to use that. I can't
You know-
remember what show it was, but they opened up the refrigerator and I'm like, Joe, that was Tupperware.
You know which show, and I don't know if you guys don't want, maybe you don't watch it because you don't have a, or my age, but Stranger Things. It's set in the 70s, and there's Tupperware all the time.
Really? I
Oh,
knew
yeah.
Everybody Loves Raymond had it a lot.
Oh my gosh.
All in the family. All in the
All
family.
in the
did
Family.
go too.
Yeah.
Did he fall?
Huh?
Did he fall?
No, but he's knocking some big logs down and they're boom. And I'm like, oh, please don't hit our deck. Now he's always
Hopefully
way
they're
up there.
bonded.
Oh, I guess I should have asked him. No.
Oh. There's a lot of tree companies that aren't though, and some people don't ask.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So should we move on? Does anybody have anything else about karma? 10:06. That was a quick chapter. Do you think we can get through? Well, we'll get through. If we have to stop in the middle of a chapter, that's okay too, right? Or
We haven't been.
I can get through this one. It's only a few pages.
Yeah, then go for it.
Knock it off, Harley. Sorry, I had to yell at my dog. Okay. All right. Chapter 13. Your time is worth $962 an hour. That's right, it is. In the next chapter, I'm going to tell you that you've got to take care of yourself while you're building your empire. It may require you to add some things to your life, and that's going to piss you off. So first, I'm going to tell you how to find more time in your day, your week, and your month, so you can use that extra time to do the self-care necessary to be the CEO of your business and your life. I'm going to help you be more efficient. Time is our most valuable resource. Before we can have a compelling conversation about efficiency, you've got to understand how much your time is actually worth. First, you need to decide on two numbers. How much do you ultimately want to earn annually from your business? Don't limit yourself to what you want to be bringing in next month or next year. I'm talking the big number. What do you want this business to grow to? Number two, how many hours a week do you want to work? I'm not talking about what you think you have to work. You need to be honest about how many hours you want to work every week on your business. Once I went to our company's first convention and started to understand what I actually landed in, I started to think about my numbers. I wanted to earn 1 million a year and work 20 hours a week. I was dreaming big. Back then, our company was so young that we didn't have the success proof points we have now. We didn't have a Lexus program or a 7-figure earner, let alone a $5 million earner. But I figured, what the hell, I'm going to shoot for the stars. Since I'd always worked in professions ruled by the billable hour, I wanted to figure out what my time was worth. At the beginning of all our businesses, we're working a lot of hours for the promise of a big return. But I didn't want to focus on the depressing reality of what I was earning then for every hour of work I put in. Instead, I wanted to know what my time was worth, my billable hour, if you will, based on what I wanted to earn. Here are my calculations from back then. 20 hours per week times 52 weeks was 1,040 hours per year. 1 million is 1,040 hours per year equals $962 per hour. Every hour of my time was worth $962. That blew my billable rate as a lawyer or PR consultant out of the water. Do you think that had an impact on how I spent my time? You better believe it did. As my goals have changed, how much I want to earn and how much I want to work our business, I've consistently recalculated. so I'm crystal clear on my time's hourly worth. It helps me continue to refine where I spend my time and how efficient I am. As I write this, every hour of my time, based on my current goals of philanthrop-
Philanthropy.
philanthropy, thank you, is worth $3,846. Do you think this motivates me to keep working on greater efficiencies and not wasting time? You better believe it does. Before we continue, stop and figure your numbers. So maybe that's something we can do for next week, is ramp back to this and figure out our numbers. Because, we have a pretty good idea of how many hours we have worked and how many hours we can work and how many hours we want to work. Because if you let it, you could work this business 27, well, there's 24 hours in a day. You could probably realistically work it 20 hours a day if you let yourself do that, and I found over the years, you just have to know what's important and work on like the income producing activities for so many hours, say a week, and let all the rest go. Because if you have a team, it can take up some of those hours. And, it can be a never ending thing. And I think if you let your business overtake you, then you get burned out. You can't go at that pace. Like when we have those really crazy months, like May and October, you work like crazy. And at the end, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, but you did it because you had a goal and you wanted to do it. But imagine doing that 12 months out of the year. I think the only person that does that is Pam. But Pam is a special type of person who always is working. Even when she's sleeping, I think she's working. So maybe we can do this for next week if you guys want. We can circle back. I'll let Ellen know, but it's kind of a cool way to figure out, if you're wasting some time somewhere, like if you're wasting time on a business builder that's talked to 5 other people and they're to you and you're like, I make $1,000 an hour and I'm spending 6 hours trying to explain to her how to log into the system, then maybe there's an issue there, So not that that's happened to me, but okay. All right. So I hope you're thinking, wow, I'm the shit, because you are, or shit in the making. Either way, let's get you smarter about how you're spending your time. After everything I've gone through and learned in the last several years as a mom, entrepreneur, and a very active human, I could write an entire book on how to better manage your time in your business and your life to really live full out. Hey, if you really like this book, maybe I will, but I want to give you the Cliff's Notes version of some simple ways to find more time. Manage your work schedule. You may have already heard that to build a successful network marketing company, business, you must set your hours of operation. When you'll work your business every day and every week for the first 5 years. I even trained on it, but I could never quite get them to work or get anyone else to stick to them. Why? Because hours of operation are total bullshit. Since I started my business, I haven't had 2 weeks in a row that look the same. Kids get sick. The water heater floods the house. A rush project in your day job gets dumped in your lap. Every week is different, and even tomorrow may not look like what you planned. Am I right? So forget rigid hours of operation. Instead, let me give you the simple system I use to ensure you'll show up in some form or fashion every single day for your business, despite everything else on your plate. First, put everything you have to do in your life in one place. Whether it's a physical, old school calendar or an online one, everything needs to go in there. This includes your schedule and to-dos for your day job, your network marketing business, personal appointments, family responsibilities, workouts, social events, etc. If you're not religiously calendaring all of this stuff, get in the habit of doing so right now. The lives of CEOs of growing empires work because they schedule their lives. Second, instead of trying to establish hours of operation and sticking to them, here's what you're going to do. Every Sunday night, sit down for 15 minutes with your calendar and map out the coming week. Look at everything you must do that's already in there. The things that are non-negotiable and non-movable. Third, identify pockets of time that you'll devote to your own prospecting. Remember, if you don't pay yourself first, your business won't grow. This time is sacred and is not to be used for anything else. Next, mark off when you'll be available for three-way calls and short coaching calls with your team. Finally, get your 532 list ready for Monday. The 5 new people you're going to reach out to, the 3 people you're going to reach back to, and the 2 team members you'll touch base with. What many builders who are also wives and or moms find, me included, is that it's impossible to have a handle on our own calendars and a juggling system that's a well-oiled machine without coordinating with our spouses. That's why years ago, John and I started doing what we call weekly traffic meetings to coordinate each other's schedules and juggle responsibilities. We like to do them on Sunday evenings before he and I solidify our personal calendars. It's 15 minutes that has reduced stress, miscommunication, and frustrations and made us more of a team. And it's helped us make sure the kids are picked up at their activities. I swear we only forgot BB once at dance. She still uses it to guilt us though. Then every day of the week before you shut down, take 5 minutes and look at the next day's schedule. You'll be able to do more juggling if necessary, get really clear about what the next day will hold, and gather your 532 list. 15 minutes on Sunday night and 5 minutes every evening. Commit to this system for a month, and I promise you, you'll feel like you're proactively running your business instead of reacting to it. I love that. I think that's something easy to do. Does anybody do that right now?
No, but I need to. That's something I really need to do.
I don't have it right in front of me. I should, my calendar. But I have an old school, I write it all down. Digital, to me, it helps because it's more real. It's right there. I can take a pen and cross it off. I do write in appointments and I do write in like what I should do, but I've gotten in the habit of like, okay, I didn't finish this. I didn't finish this. So I do what I've been trained to do. I think I heard it from Ellen. I move it to the next day. And then I've got all of that to do. And sometimes I move it to the next day. So I kind of give myself too much leeway on getting things done. You know what I mean? I'm not strict enough on my schedule. So, but I love the 532 list.
I do too.
You know, that's pretty cool too.
That if you get in the habit of doing that, I can see where that will build your team and your business big time. If you do that consistently.
I agree. I think that's awesome. I starred that. Okay. Your stop doing list. If you're finding it hard to find time for personal prospecting, then you're doing too much of something else. In the Business Bible, Good to Great, Jim Collins argues that your stop doing list is just as important, and for many of us, more important than our to-do list. I encourage you to write down everything you do over the course of a week in your business and how long you spend on it. And I mean everything. Be accurate and honest because that's the only way to reach your goals. As a business builder grows an organization that will start to take on a life of its own, I strongly believe she should spend at least 85 to 95% of her time on personal prospecting, training newbies who are coachable and responsive, and doing three-way calls for her team. Those are the core activities required to build this business. Everything I've learned about this profession proves that to build something substantial, you really need to consistently devote 10 to 15 hours a week. So if you're not able to devote at least 8.5 hours a week to the essential income producing activities of prospecting, training newbies, and doing three-way calls, then you need to cut out some other things you're doing. How long are you spending chit-chatting with team members when instead you should be having very short, purposeful coaching calls where you talk about their current business challenges? How much time do you spend rehashing the same concepts with your business partners, thinking that if you just explain the importance of consistent outreach one more time, she'll start to pick up the phone after 6 months of doing nothing? It may be more comfortable to have those conversations than the ones you need to be having with potential business partners and customers. But these time suckers aren't going to grow your business. How much time are you spending trolling Facebook and thinking that you're doing IPA? Set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes. Pop on and make the post you need to make. Comment on 5 people's posts so you have more visibility in their news feeds. Give 2 team members a shout out and get off. When the 5-minute alarm goes off, you're done. At the end of writing down every bit of business activity you're doing or think you're doing for a week, you'll have a good idea of what's not serving you. Stop doing them so you can spend your valuable and precious time focused on things that will actually grow your business. Coaching calls must have a purpose. Coaching sessions can be a real quick time sucker. If you and your builder don't come to the call with a clear idea of what you'll be covered after a team member has completed their first 30 days, which marks the end of the newbie phase, I offer weekly or twice monthly 15-minute power shots, aptly named for our Powered by You team, to address specific predetermined topics. All team members have to complete a coaching questionnaire and return it to me several hours before the call. It includes the following questions designed to understand how actively she's working her business, where she's spending her time, and what challenges we need to discuss. How many new people did you reach out to in the last week? How many 3-way calls did you bring to your upline in the last week? How many 3-way calls were brought to you in the last week? Did you have any level of activity you wanted? If not, please explain why. Then I have them list the 3 topics they want to discuss during our call. The system not only makes for productive and efficient calls, but it also requires the builder to reflect on her personal activity. It's made it much easier for me to diagnose issues and help team members refine and fix. If a builder is a no-show without notice and there's no emergency, we table the sessions until she's ready to treat this like a business and respect my time. And when a team member doesn't reach out to at least 15 new people a week for more than 2 sessions, we put the coaching on hold until she's ready to commit the time to talk to enough folks to grow. Am I a hard ass on this? Yes, I am, but I know what my time is worth, and someone has to be all in to get my time. If they're not all in, I know our company and general team training and resources provide more than enough for them to meet their goals. I hope you'll understand the virtues of being a hard ass too. And I think that's true in Champion. You know, you can work one-on-one with someone, but if they're not all in, there's plenty of things to direct them to that will help them get what they're looking for instead of time with us. I think I totally agree with that.
Yes, very true.
Right? Yeah. Work with your body, not against it. Each of us has a unique physiology that dictates when we have the most energy. It's important we recognize our biorhythms and work with them, not against them. For example, I'm not an early morning person. It usually takes me until 8:30 to be engaged and engaging. And from 4:30 to 5:30, I'm worthless for anything that requires creativity or focused discipline. Instead of trying to fight that, I work with it. That's why I never do my own prospecting or schedule 3-way calls during those times. Instead, I use my lower energy times to get things done that don't require me to be compelling or inspiring. I'm a total fireball from 10 a.m. to 2:30, and then again from 8 to 9 p.m. You want to be in my energy field during those times. Trust me. So it's my prime prospecting time. I encourage you to look at when you're setting aside time for prospecting and make sure it's not when you're in your natural valleys instead of at your peak. A personal touch doesn't have to be in person. Don't do anything in person that you can do over the phone or via FaceTime. I used to think that if I enrolled a new business partner who lived locally, I should do the first training in person. What I found over time is that regardless of where they lived, there was no correlation between those I had trained one-on-one in person and those I had trained over the phone. The ones I trained in person who weren't self-motivated, hungry, and coachable did jack, while someone 3 time zones away who trained over the phone had 2 small business partners in her first 2 weeks. Training over the phone saves everyone driving time and shows your new business partner that she can train team members in other cities and countries, use her time efficiently, and not believe in any preconceived geographic limitations. I've also seen many business builders slow down their growth by thinking they have to meet with every local prospect. I quickly learned that it is important to qualify how interested a person is in learning more about my business and my products before considering whether or not we should meet in person. Initial conversations about the business should be brief, 10 to 20 minutes tops, and it's a much more efficient use of everyone's valuable time to do it over the phone. If your prospect wants to discuss things further in person after that, I recommend including a 3-way call in that face-to-face meeting or meeting after the 3-way call if your unable to close her then. You're busy. The people you're talking to are busy. So show your prospects how simple this business is to fit into their already crazy full lives and how there aren't geographic limitations to how much and where they can grow. Don't get distracted. We live in an age where distractions are bombarding us all the time. Alerts, notifications, text, tags. Just watch a teenager try and do homework, and you'll see how technology, with all its virtues, has made it very difficult to focus on a task from start to completion. Then compound all of that with the distractions that come from working at home, the dog, the laundry, workmen, kids, and the refrigerator. If you don't learn to be disciplined about all of it, it can eat up the time you have to build your business. I got all that going on today except the refrigerator. Not good. I love you, refrigerator. You know, you got to talk nice to it, right? Harley, I see.
She loves it too.
Okay, a few tips. Check your email you use for your business only 3 times a day. Whatever it is, it can wait a few hours. Use texting for more urgent matters and ask your team to do the same. If something doesn't need attention in the next hour, it's not urgent. Check Facebook or Instagram no more than 3 times a day. Really? That's hard when we work our business on Facebook. Wow. Okay.
Oh, she's probably talking posts, you know, other people's posts and that. If you're checking your business, I don't think that counts.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe
this
she's
is like
talking about
the
time
page,
sucking.
you know, just yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay. Unless you're doing some type of social media campaign that requires you to respond in real time, you're not going to miss anything critical in a few hours. When you do get on social media, set a timer on your phone for 5 or 10 minutes. When it goes off, you get off and get back to the other crucial aspects of your business. When it's time to do your personal prospecting, close all programs and apps that aren't required for your call. That way you can focus on the call you're making and immediately go to the next call without getting distracted. Turn off notifications. When I'm not actively on email or social media, I don't want to be distracted by notifications. I know myself, and the temptation is just too great for me to take a look. So I have to turn off all notifications. That's really a great tip. If you're like even putting aside time to get something done, turn off your notifications. Because how often are we like sitting in, I don't know, planning something, doing something, and the notification goes off and you're like, oh, you know, that I gotta, you know, I get distracted easily. Like, oh, I gotta go to that. I gotta do that. And actually a lot of people I've noticed are pretty impatient as well. Like in a party when, you know, like in these mega parties that we're doing, when they have to check in, you know, they only give it like an hour and it's like they'll post in there, oh, well, I've sent her a message and I haven't heard back. It's like we live in an instant world. Like they expect instantly. And the trick that I do, and I do this, and I think you can change your notifications on your phone, but I can open up my phone and I can see my notifications and it does not open up Messenger. So I can open up the notifications and I can see Messenger and it'll say Lydia, you know, Barbara Ann, Melissa, and I can see who it is without opening it, because as soon as you look at it, people know you've seen it. And I feel like as soon as they know that I've seen it, I need to take action on it. So I'll look to see. And a lot of times I don't open them until I'm ready to do that. That's what I do. But I've changed the number on my phone. So I can, it just will say Lydia, 1 message, Melissa, 1 message. And I don't have to click on it to open.
I do the same thing. Absolutely.
Because
I don't want people thinking I'm ignoring them or anything, you know, but when I have time to get back to them, then I open it.
Okay. Multiply your time. I'm not talking about multitasking. Multitasking, which has become a bit a badge of honor, is when we do 2 or more things at the same time. Research shows that multitasking isn't nearly as efficient as we all like to believe, and it can even be harmful to our health. Even though we like to think of ourselves as Wonder Women, our brains actually have a finite amount of attention and productivity. If you're doing 2 activities at once, unless one of them is automatic, like folding laundry or walking, then you're never fully in the zone for either one of them. And if you're trying to juggle 3 or more things at once, forget about it. You won't be doing any of them with excellence. I know that multitasking heightens my stress and elevates feelings of anxiety from trying to cram too much in at one time. But a 2013 Stanford study shows that combining activities can help us achieve our goals without maxing ourselves out. Using multipliers is about doing one thing that satisfies multiple goals instead of doing multiple activities at once. That's kind of confusing. See, I can't multitask, obviously. Hey, Melissa, can you read? I got to go to the front door. Can you hear?
Yeah.
All right.
I thought that was interesting because actually at the summit, the gentleman that spoke said the exact same thing about it causes high stress. And if you do one thing at a time and give it a time limit, you'll see that more gets done in that time. So I thought that was really interesting that she sort of reiterated that. But for me, I like to read and respond to emails and Facebook messages when I'm sitting with our kids during homework time. They're happy that I'm there. I get to oversee what they're doing and answer questions. And my inbox gets cleaned out. I listen to training calls while doing cardio. I do 3-way calls when doing everything from cooking to putting away laundry. There's that damn laundry again. Why can't our kids wear something twice? To driving. Please note that I am not suggesting that you conduct business activities while operating heavy machinery like a car. However, once I got very good at fielding 3-way calls, I found driving time to be a valuable source for doing IPA. Then there's another get in action. Think about the different ways you could put this into practice. Come up with at least 3 multipliers you could start implementing. It's also incredibly helpful to group like activities together. According to many studies, moving back and forth between several tasks probably takes us longer to finish than it would to finish each one separately. So put your uninterrupted focus on each task. That requires a specific mindset. And once you get in a groove, stay there until you're finished. This is why I schedule 3-way calls back to back, coaching calls back to back, answer emails all at once, and dedicate chunks of time to personal prospecting. Are you clustering similar activities together on your schedule? If not, I challenge you to get in the habit of doing so you can avoid the little time suckers that come every time you have to switch back and forth between tasks. Not only will you be more efficient, but you'll also feel less taxed, stretched, and frantic. Okay, I found you some more time. So let's turn the page and talk about how you can take care of yourself, because you can't build a huge organization if you don't take care of the most important person in it, you.
So true.
And think about it. I don't know if anyone's ever done something with cherries where you pit them and then you cut them. I used to always do one cherry all the way through. And then one time I timed it where I pitted all the cherries, then I cut all the cherries, and it really does go much faster. And that makes sense. You're in the mindset for that task at that time. So
I love that.
that's the first thing I thought about it when I was reading. I'm like, you know what? That is right.
And you timed yourself to see.
Like literally set a stopwatch, but I did
get it.
look at it and it did go much faster. But my brain always goes back to doing it the first way, one all the way through each step. So it's sort of funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used
So
to
I
do
guess-
at
Go ahead,
work,
Lydia.
when I worked at KraftMaid, we used to do time studies all the time. That was one of the things that I was tasked with, like within my department, to know which way of doing things was most efficient. And sometimes what you think is going to take the longest is actually the fastest, the fastest way. So it's like time studies are amazing if you learn from them, you know.
You know
I know
what?
multitasking, they say don't multitask, do one thing at a time, and that's true because I get I get doing something and it's like, oh, I need to do this, and I get started on that, and that's and I need to do this, and then before I know it, the first thing never got done, and you know what I'm saying? I've got all these things started and nothing got completed, and it's like, ah,
I do that in cleaning. I
Mm.
say I'm like a squirrel when I clean. I'll do something in this room and then I have to walk something that I'm doing to another room. So then I start doing something in another room and it's like, oh my gosh, I drive myself crazy with it.
yep, exactly.
And I think I'm programmed to do that as well because I have to force myself. I've done it. I have to force, like if I were just reading this book, okay, I have to force myself to read an entire chapter without stopping. Not because I don't like to read, I love to read, but because I'm distracted by something else. Like,
Mhm.
I've got to do something, I've got to do this. And I do the exact same thing. I start something cleaning and I'll move over there and I'm like, oh, I got to dust in there. Oh, I've got to pick this up. And then I go upstairs. I've done it where I've had to go like upstairs to my office and I go up twice and I don't come down with what I went up there
Oh,
originally.
yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
dang it. I went up there for the tape and I came down with nothing. You know, I know it's just the struggle.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you for being patient with me and everything that's going on. So, we'll be, huh?
Sorry. You guys listen to Audible, like listen to Audible books or anything like that?
I don't
I
have
don't.
Audible books.
I have to
I
turn
have,
pages.
okay, I have Audible and I like the books that we do on book clubs, and I have some other ones too, and I listen to them when I'm driving. And it's interesting because it's like this one, I'm listening to Romy read it herself, like she reads the book to you, and I'm just ahead of this. So I'm finding I listen to that and I pick up all kinds of things and then we read through it and I catch some things that I had missed. So it's like I'm getting, because I need to highlight and stuff like that as well in my book. Um, but it's really kind of cool because I'm thinking I pick up more that way,
Right.
you know.
You should maybe train Lydia on time studies. I mean, if you're familiar enough, like with when you worked with KraftMaid, that'd be an interesting training.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
It came to me when Melissa was reading. I was like, that would be cool. And then you said you have familiarity with that because I think we're all under the same assumption
Mhm.
that
The
when
more
we're
you do, the
multitasking,
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think that's exactly right. I think we're less effective. So I'm
Mhm.
going to work on that. I'm going to work on that this week to focus on one thing and get it done, unless it's a like activity that you can group together.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
All right. So to stick to the time, what is it? 10:38. So we'll sign off, and you guys have a great Monday.
You too.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.